Good afternoon. After completion of two continuing sessions of our today program, still participants are passionate to learn more and more. Request to our past president, CA Rajesh Singhania ji and CA Sandeep Sureka ji to escort the guest speaker, Mr. Murali Krishnan and Mrs. Saloni Mittal ji. Please. Sandeep. Today, two speakers, Mr. Murali Krishnan and Saloni. And 20 years ago, when one of my friends of Northeast prepared momo, and on that day I was familiar with the term momo and the taste. But today, everyone knows the taste and name of the momo only and only due to the wow momo. And today, Mr. Murali Krishnan, CMO and co-founder of the wow momo with us. Headquartered in Calcutta, and Wow Momo is a chain of fast food restaurants specializing in different varieties of momos. From a small kiosk in Calcutta to country's largest chain of momo with more than 500 plus outlets in 25 cities. Not only did Murali Krishnan study growth for their business, but he also campaigned innovation in brand building. Thank you, sir. And Mr. Rohit Kejriwal, please come and give the bouquet to Mr. Murali Krishnan ji. One of our co-speaker, Saloni Mittal ji, is the co-founder and director of Jinteja, a fintech startup with a mission to drive all Indians towards financial freedom. She graduated with the highest honor from University of California, Berkeley with a dual degree in the business administration and economy. She has previously worked in finance and strategic role at Tesla, E&Y, and Deloitte. CA Ashish Maskara ji, come and welcome with the bouquet. I think as we are, just start the session with your keyword. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is a great pleasure that such a huge crowd, attentive crowd, I must say, and the two very young entrepreneurs of Calcutta. First of all, let me congratulate the organizers. When I entered around 10 a.m., then I checked the minutes to minute, what was going on, exactly 10 to 10 it was going on, what exactly was there in the minutes to minute. That means the program is going very well and it will end very well also. That means the time is the essence of the success. For the starters also, it is the time, that what time you are starting and what time what is the time to start, invest and invent. That is the very important thing. Of course, we will hear from you. First of all, welcome both of you, sir and madam. This Wow Momo. The Wow Momo, it was started in the year 2008. And today we have probably 25,000 outlets. 500 outlets in 25 cities. And Saloni, only 2 years and 1 month old. And this fintech, I am talking about your, of course, your startup only, that it is only 2 years and 1 year old. And this fintech, Ginteja Fintech, I have heard the name because now it is a startup. Of course, we have to, we will be keep hearing it is in the investment, insurance and banking and so many other things. So first of all, let me have this startup. What is this unicorn? So I was just going through. Unicorn is basically, it is not a new term. It is a term which was coined long back, centuries back. It is a one-horned horse. I think the photo is there. If you can just show the audience, one-horned horse. It is the national animal of Scotland. That is actually called unicorn. But nowadays, this is unicorn. This is very rare. Union Minister of Commerce and Industry, Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, Textiles, Sri Piyush Goyal, highlighted recently the achievement of India by a tweet. The India hits a century in style. And what was that? The Bangalore-based startup becomes the country's 100th unicorn. And today we have 107 unicorns in India. All over the world, around 865 unicorns. And what is a unicorn? What is special about that? The special is that when it reaches a valuation of $1 billion on paper, mind it, $1 billion on paper, that means 8,150 crores of rupees. And becoming a unicorn is a cherished dream of founders, frankly. And it is a point at which the company ceases to be considered a startup and moves into a new stage. To be a unicorn, there is no cakewalk. That you will realize. And each unicorn today has its own story with a list of features that worked in the favor. The startups which exceeds the valuation of $10 billion are grouped as decacorn. They are super unicorns. Dropbox, SpaceX, these are all, super unicorns. And before starting the session, ma'am, Murali, sorry, I will start with Murali. What is your experience? Like how you feel that you are called a startup and you have got so many shops all over India. And Momo is a new term. About 15 years back, I was not knowing Momo is even a food also. Just share your experience.
Hello everyone. For a guy whose family is filled with CA, but the guy chose to, join marketing first, advertising, and then get into Momo business. I was always looked down upon by my brothers. So when I got when I featured in that post, I sent it to everyone in the family group. And all my brothers who are CA, all my therefore Bhabis are also CA. So they, I just told them that I have made it today. It's for a Tamil Brahmin family. This is a CA or engineering. There are only two alternative careers in the world. So jokes apart, I just thought I'll start the session and in a very simple manner, I'll answer one and the what is a startup, sir? To us and to most of us who are in the startup, who are who are basically हम जो समुद्र में गोते खा रहे हैं, हमें समझ में आता है एक चीज़, there's one thing that differentiates a company from a startup, or a business from a startup, or a firm from a startup. A startup is ever ready to pivot. Startup is ever ready to change. So if Tata today to me is a startup. If Tata after legacy of 150 years can wake up and create Tata new and get into, today they have acquired so many bunch of young startups like Pharmacy, and doing so many things, big basket they've acquired, which means Tata is a startup to me. Because they are ever ready to pivot. And pivot is about challenging status quo. There is a very interesting brand called Tom's. Tom's is basically a shoe brand, which is the brand was created by the founder during his family trip to Argentina. He went to Argentina. He realized he was on a 14-day family trip. After 2 weeks of family trip, during the trip, a lot of things keep hitting him. One of the things that hit him was the filaria in Argentina. Filaria is a leg disease which happens due to worm attack and other bacterial attack, infections, etc. So he wanted to spend 1 more week. He called his office and said that, Baba, I'm going to spend 1 more week. He spent one week in the interiors of Argentina and realized that Argentina was one of the largest exporter of a kind of barefoot luxury shoe called Alpagrata. And he was completely astounded to see one of the shoes that is being exported from Argentina was not worn by Argentinians, and they were developing foot diseases because they were not having, interiors of Argentina did not have shoes to wear. So what he decided a very simple thing. He chose to export those shoes, buy those shoes in bulk from them, and export those shoes, which basically he started a business. However, he said to those people who were buying the shoe, saying that if you buy a shoe, I will give 1 shoe to those set of people who are roaming around with shoeless, with barefoot and with so many diseases, disease prone. Therefore, he added a mark of purpose. So Tom's shoes today sell across the world, and everyone who buys a Tom's shoes, the company gives a Tom's shoe to a shoeless person in interiors of Argentina, interiors of Africa. Now they have entered India too. For example, the day he released his book, the founder released his book, he sold the book saying that every copy you buy of my book, there will be a set of people, set of kids who can't afford education and books, they will be given books. When Tom's launched their bags, they launched the bags with a purpose, saying that every bag you buy across the world, wherever there is a requirement, we will ship a bag. So that's what a startup is. Startup is nothing but intent to pivot. Intent to pivot at any point in time, at any stage you are, at any valuation you are, at any business structure you are. If you are ready to change, if you are ready to pivot and therefore coming down to balance of 3, which we call it, which is solve, scale and sustain. If you can do either 3 or 2 of them at any given point in time, you are a startup. When we entered the space of Momo, we felt that this was in the world of burgers and world of fries. Here was a set of delectable snack, which could go to far, which could travel much far across the country, but today was limited to only one set of audience because it is considered as a roadside northeastern snack. तो हमने उसको क्या किया, हमने रोड साइड स्नैक को एक ब्रांडेड लुक एंड फील दिया, हमने उसमें प्रोडक्ट इनोवेशन किया, वी इनोवेटेड ऑन द प्रोडक्ट, वी मेड इट मच मोर पैलेटेबल. टुडे वी हैव 62 stores in Chennai. I was on a market visit in the month of August, and while I was in a market visit, I found it so by God's grace बोलते हैं उसको, कि ये मुझे दिखा कि there was this kid traveling with his father, and the kid is telling, and they are in the corner of a roadside momo shop. Not roadside exactly, but they were in a small momo shop. And the guy is telling his father that, Appa, I want to have wow momo. And the Appa is telling the kid that this is not wow momo, this is another momo. So therefore, we have been able to be the Xerox of the category. Today, and that's what has made us here, the entire journey from that small 30 square feet kiosk in Moore Avenue to today where we are, is that we have never ever thought anything beyond being relevant. We were always trying to find that one thing which constantly we were striving ourselves, pushing ourselves, is do something that is relevant. What is relevant? Relevant in today's world is anything that a consumer needs, and anything that we feel can make the consumer life easier. And not always that we believe that what the consumer says is what he wants. Because like Mr. Ford said, that if I had gone to the consumer and asked what they want, they would have told me that they wanted faster horses, right? So it is for the startup to pivot and understand that what does the consumer want and what could make their life easier.
Thank you. Saloni, now it's your turn.
Hello. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. So I think, my journey has been, it's not been that long, first of all. But as you grow up, and I realized this through my college experience after that when I worked a little bit, and since I've started this journey of my startup, is that everything that's around you has not always been there. It's someone's passion project. This hotel that we're sitting in, or a museum that you go to, a movie theater that you go to, or for that matter, even the sofa that we're sitting on, is someone's passion project. Someone has worked religiously and for long hours and put in years of work to make this happen, to bring this sofa here, to make us sit on it, and make us sit in this hotel and do this program. So everything that's there in this world, from a nail to anything for that matter, even the biggest scales of things, has been someone's passion project. And so while I was at Tesla and I was working there, and I saw Elon Musk's vision that, he started with the vision that he wanted to transition the world to a world where everything is run on renewable energy. And he started with a very small step, was to first make clean cars, make sure that cars are running on batteries instead of fuel. That showed me that, when you're passionate about something, and when you're working towards something and you have a big vision in mind, you can actually do anything to reach there. And so with Ginteja, I actually came back to India after my education at Berkeley. And while I was here was the time the pandemic hit us. And, a lot of discussions were going on about how the pandemic showed that, there was a big breakdown of the healthcare system in our country. And people weren't getting healthcare services and things like that. But I think more important than that, or equally as important, was that it showed us that there was a breakdown of the financial ecosystem in the country as well. And what I mean by that is, you saw that a lot of people were not getting admitted into hospitals in fear of the hospital bill. Or, a lot of families were losing the earning member, and apart from dealing with the fact that, they have this emotional loss, they don't have the capability to deal with the financial loss. And so with that vision in mind, we sort of started Ginteja, that, why should financial services only be limited to the HNIs of the world, or, people who are earning a lot? Every individual in our country deserves financial freedom. And so that was the mission that we started with, to drive all Indians towards financial freedom. And once we got on this journey, obviously it's a very big statement, it's a very big problem that we want to solve. And it's not possible to do it in one day or even 1 year. It'll probably take us like 10, 20, 30 years to get to a stage where we can actually say we've achieved this mission. But the first step that we've taken towards this is to, and the first step that every individual should take towards their financial planning is to make sure they have the insurance in place, make sure they're not bleeding before they start investing. And that is why with Ginteja right now we're focusing on building a digital distribution of insurance to make sure that every individual gets access to insurance. Every individual understands the importance of insurance because currently about 5 to 6 crores of Indians in our country today are driven to poverty because of the healthcare burden that they face because of hospitalization. And greater than 90% of hospitalization in our country is paid through savings and not through insurance. And we only have 7 rupees available for every 100 rupees that is required in insurance savings today. So that's sort of the mission that we are on right now. And we have a long journey to go ahead and to see what happens, but yeah.
Saloni, I've got a question. See, there is an insurance agent. He's an investment consultant. He handles the insurance, life insurance, general insurance, mutual fund, fixed deposit and all. So how this Gintech is different from that normal, because why it is called a startup and why they are not called a startup?
No, actually, so I completely agree with you. Insurance by its nature is a very advice-based industry. You can't, I don't think anyone who doesn't have the proper financial literacy, which I think most Indians today don't have access to that, can go online by themselves and people who don't even understand English properly, go online, read policy documents, purchase insurance directly online and be happy with it, or without the support that's required. That's why purely online players like Policy Bazaar, while there's a huge market for it, cannot service every Indian in our country. And so the model that we started with Ginteja is we're building a distribution system. So all these insurance advisors that are there in the market, we're enabling them. We are not taking away from the market, we are enabling them. So what happens is they can sign up with us, become our partner, get access to our technology where we give them a platform where they can onboard their customers, compare insurance policies online for them and purchase the policy, and also get a lot of claim support, underwriting support, advice support from our team. So again, we are not different, we are just aggregating all of these agents and insurance advisors and everyone who wants to help any single individual in our country to make that insurance purchase. We are sort of enabling them right now. And I would say that every partner that's associated with us is running a startup of their own. They are an entrepreneur. They are, doing something that they are their own boss. They are working at any time they want. They have completely flexible schedules. So they have a smaller scale startup, but it's still a startup. They're still an entrepreneur.
Thank you. Murali, I have a question from you. This unicorns or startups, hiring is very important. I mean, you need to hire those persons who are going to be the future leaders. And now you are based in Calcutta, and Calcutta, you are aware that it is compared to India, because startups are mostly, based in Bangalore. And that too, 25% is run by the IITians. There was recently a tweet that 25% startups or unicorns are driven by the IITians. Now my question is that the Bengal hiring, and you are the leader as a startup in West Bengal, how you manage all these things?
I have a lot of problems in this statement. I don't think, I think whenever I go outside Calcutta, I tell people that, yeah, how can you say Calcutta is dried out of startup? I think the best of minds sit in Cal. Just that we might not know how to channelize. It's the Calcuttans who go to Bangalore and work. Most of the times. Most often than not. Look at Manyavar. What a amazing story we've created. Look at all the entire hosiery giants who are sitting out of Cal. We are a host of businesses which, and possibly, the entire idea that, only those who are in the race of unicorns are startup, those who need money are startup. That's what the notion is. But to us, unicorn, actually, to majorly I feel that for a startup who's really trying to solve and balance between solve, sustain, and scale, unicorn is just one of the stations in his journey, because he's only focused about solving that larger problem. Like even if you talk to Piyush or Amit of Lenskart, they will keep on telling you that they wanted to solve the entire problem of not having a hygienic eye care segment in the country, and how eye care was always looked upon as a very unfashionable, or even if fashionable eye care was always unaffordable. So they were trying to solve a lot of problems. So to me, I think if you really go talk to those people who are trying to solve a larger business, larger social problem, or a larger people problem, individual problem, anything, it needs to solve and come from any prism of society, prism of a segment, prism of future, prism of individual. Unicorn would just be one of the stations in the destination. Like Vineet ji mentioned about the valuation game, वो सब होते रहेंगे, but valuation game is not the real startup scene. The startup is a mindset, and there are a lot of brands, I will tell you, out of Calcutta who are doing great business and doing great number. Second, I also feel that, to answer the first part of your question, I personally feel we are headquartered in Cal but not based out of Cal, because today we are based out of India, and anyone who wants to do great business today, COVID has taught us that geography is history. So I think great people, great talent. Today, my head of training, national training, we have a training team of 78 people across the country. We have a buddy trainer at a store level. We have a cluster level trainers. So our L&D department is one of, and in the industry they speak about our L&D department. Our the training head, training number 2 and training number 3 across the country sit out of the training number 1 and 2. One, Rajesh, who's the training head, sits out of Bangalore, and Gagandeep sits out of Delhi. So imagine, your talent is not about, today talent is not about which place you are there. Today talent is all about, are you a great place to work? People don't buy you today, people buy into you. आपको कोई खरीदता नहीं है, वो आपकी चिंता धारणा को खरीदता है. उसी तरह आपके साथ कोई काम नहीं करता, वो आपके विजन के साथ काम करता है. And to us, we keep telling people that you don't report to me, you don't report to the CEO, you don't report to anyone, you report to the brand, right? तो वो हम change कर रहे हैं, sir. There is, and it's not only me. I know a lot of young people who are trying to get this changed, because we also keep questioning ourselves that यार ये तो valuation bubble है. But we are not, lot of people we know. I know startup is no more about valuation and no more about unicorn. Startup is about solve, scale, and sustain.
That is a very good message he has given, that a startup is not about those unicorns or valuations. Saloni, the same questions to you, because you are new, fresh, and you will be hiring many persons. How you will handle? What are your strategy, if you can just divulge here?
Yeah, I think, I agree with a lot of things that he said, and I'm still very early on my journey, but as we were hearing throughout the morning, that it's a very lonely journey to be on. And your only companions here are the people that are on your team and that are working towards your vision. So first of all, when you're looking for, I think, employees, the best employees that we've hired are people who have entrepreneurial spirit in their own. So, these are individuals that are not looking to do one thing. So when we hire someone who's doing marketing, who's going to be doing our marketing, we don't tell them that they're going to be just doing marketing. And they don't do just marketing. Every employee who works at a startup does everything. Someone who's in the finance department is doing finance, he's doing legal, he's doing marketing. Firstly, everyone at a startup is doing marketing. So, and everyone should be doing marketing, whoever's working in a startup. So, I think, the best employees that you can find are people who want to take up charge, who you are not looking to come and report to you, who you are looking for that, the employees should find solutions to their problems themselves and solve it and come to you that, I had this problem, I've solved it, and this is how I've solved it. Because as a founder, you don't have the time to deal with everything. You don't have the management bandwidth. So if you can find, I mean, these are not easy to find, I would say also, but Calcutta has a lot of them. I think Calcutta has people who by nature want to take charge and want to solve problems. And this, I don't know where this narrative of people from Calcutta laid back has been built. I don't know. I have personally seen that everyone who's on my team is very excited, very motivated to get things done on an everyday basis.
In fact, sorry, I would just want to add, so our journey, I would just give you a small timeline. We started in 2008. It was started by Sagar and Vinod. Right. Until 2015, we were 41 stores in Calcutta, completely bootstrapped. Only funding was thanks to Bandhan Bank, where we had taken a loan, and nothing else. And no equity, वो तब तो दूर का बात है, हम लोग को venture capital क्या था वो कुछ नहीं पता. 2015, the group of IN investors came in. They said that we want to look at you, and they said valuation. Then Sagar said, "What is valuation?" Then we figured out, spoke to 20 people. At that time, I was working in Bombay, so he came to Bombay. He was staying with me, trying to figure out what all. I had lot of. That time, I started working. I was in an agency called Lintas in Bombay. So at that time, I had just started working in with Baiju for a project. So I said that you do something, you come over. यहाँ पे there is a lot of startup which we are doing brand building for. We'll figure out. So he came in, we figured out what is valuation, etc., etc. We got funding in 2015. When he raised 2015 funding, first thing he did is get Mittal, who's our CA, is our childhood friend. We are all St. Xavier's grown up. So Mittal joined Sagar as a third co-founder. In 2017, we raised our Series A again in Bombay, and the day we raised the Series A, I was sworn in as the fourth co-founder, as a CMO, because he wanted someone to make the brand bigger that time, because we were scaling up, ready to be very big, and we had a lot of pressure in terms of growth and scale. So he wanted someone to own the company and own the brand. So hence I came in as the fourth co-founder. So this is how you build great talent, and this is a talent that is a Calcutta-based talent, and and when she was saying that everybody is marketing, actually everyone is marketing in the system, because हम सब at the end of the day we have learned business, seeing our fathers or seeing our friends' fathers who was 24/7 living the business. No, so and I think that sense of ownership is what we look at when we hire people. And Calcutta mein we have great talent to hire. Also, all the talents who are not based in Calcutta are not based in Calcutta not because they find Calcutta as not a great place to be. The only thing why I have my media head sitting out of Delhi is because Delhi has a better negotiation power. Because since Times of India and all the great publications sits out of Delhi and Bombay, then therefore my media head sits out of there. It's not because Calcutta mein media head nahi hai. So that's where we decided. We said that we were not, and whenever we go outside Calcutta and speak, we only say that boss भरे पड़े हैं entrepreneurs. And आप जो level के startup की बात कर रहे हैं, यहाँ पे लोग वो बात नहीं करते वो क्योंकि उनको लगता है कि वो अच्छा बड़ा business नहीं हुआ अभी तक.
Yeah, also, one thing, as he said, was that you get what you pay for. So if you pay well, you will attract good talent. If you want to pay 1/10 of the salary that people in Bombay are getting paid, then you will not attract the talent that, Bombay companies are attracting.
And the startups today have realized that, you need to share wealth to make wealth. If you don't share wealth, you can't make wealth. And I think that is where the entire ESOP conversation comes in. That is when the entire, how you are nurturing a talent. So when we look at the talent, even for the smallest of hire, we write out above the, above the CV, is he a 3-year or a 5-year or a 10-year guy for us in our head. And that happens when you're taking the interview itself.
Sir, you were talking about the valuation games. Now, talking about this Baiju or Oyo or so many other startups, unicorns, their valuations have destroyed like anything. I mean, I can tell you it is destroyed. How this valuation is being made what is the authority who is controlling the valuation, whether the venture capitalists, they have the field to play anything. I mean, totally this audience is not aware about this valuation games, that venture capital is coming, this is the valuation, it has got $51 billion valuation. How you do? You know, profits are not there, losses will be there for next 7 years. The projections they are saying. So how these valuations are being managed, or I don't know how to put my questions, but I think you have understood that this valuation is very important so far as the unicorns or a startup is concerned.
I agree. See, I agree to one part that valuation is important, but I think valuation, super valuation is something which I think we, if you are a straight-headed startup, you will not take it. Again, commenting on larger startups whose valuation bubbles have destroyed the smaller profitable organizations, like in our food and beverage industry. We always, the first question is, how is this possible? We know the top line of that guy. We know the top line of the bottom line of that person. How is this possible? The idea is, there are two sets of ideologies which work in the market. Again, similar to a stock market, which is the bear and the bull. In the minds of the VC investors, they are very clear that we are going to play this battle, and this is going to be the battle of averages. And I am going to create a battle of averages in the system. How is this battle of averages favoring the market? Number one, the influx of capital to the country. Therefore, the country is allowing the battle of averages. Number two, in this battle of averages, they try to identify a set of brands which is trying to, possibly at one end, build a certain disruption. So it is I would say, the cost of disruption. Because one disruption happens, then the disruption gets massified. And when disruption gets massified is when the overall economy gets benefited. I look at this cost of disruption is which I call, which is today, if you look at 6 months before and 6 months today, I think things have much mellowed down. Now, it is very difficult for you to go chest thump yourself and say that I'm not profitable, unprofitable. I don't know whether I will be ever profitable, and yet hit the public market or the private markets.
The valuations means like it is just a valuation of the idea. Like I will be running the hotels, I will be entering into the contracts, the monthly income will be to the account of that hoteliers and all. This is a valuation of the idea, isn't that? Saloni, what is your take about it?
Valuation of the disruption, that's what I said. It's a reward for the disruption. Once you reward the disruption, sir, you will see that the disruption gets massified. There are multiple smaller players doing the same disruption. When multiple smaller players do the same disruption, the overall ecosystem gets benefited, because then you are no more running with a single, it's avoiding oligopoly, but at a smaller scale.
Yeah, I think obviously, the valuation is for the idea, it's for the team. It's for, it's for the confidence that the investors have that this founding team will be able to achieve the idea. And apart from that also, even though the topic of this discussion is the journey of a unicorn, I think more lately, the idea of a unicorn has become passé or last season. I think now what startups are focusing on, or even investors are focusing on, is the idea of being a cockroach. A cockroach is thought of as a pest that can survive even a nuclear war. So I think startups increasingly, because of the, this funding winter or whatever's coming, are focusing more on ensuring that even without funding, they can survive the climate, they can survive the conditions, they can make sure they're running, they're not having to shut shop. But when the funding comes, they can scale up. So I think before you decide to go scale up, you should make sure that your unit economics are profitable. So in case that you're not getting that high of a valuation and you don't want to raise at that funding round or whatever, you are not going out of business. You're still you're still creating value. And when the time comes that the valuations are proper again, or you feel like you're getting a valuation that your business derives, that's when you can pick that funding round and scale it as much as you want. So I think especially for us, we are looking at the idea of being a cockroach right now instead of a unicorn, and when the time comes, we'll obviously want to achieve that.
Like today, the only question at every investor table, and I'm sure Vineet ji, आपको भी ये सवाल आते रहेंगे, that what is your ROCE and what is your ROI? Nothing more than that. And trust me, if a CMO understands what is ROCE and ROI, it's a job well done by the founders. Right? And that is the only question, and it is no more top line and all in the valuation, like valuation games. It is only your how healthy you are. If you're not healthy, investors have woken up to our NPS scores. Yeah, if they are waking up and asking what is the NPS study you've done. And NPS study is such an in-depth marketing study, and I tell them, बस NPS, how do you arrive at NPS? आपके bill में जो happy और sad बोल रहा है, उससे NPS नहीं होता है. NPS is a proper study that people do, that market research agencies has been doing for 100 years now.
Changing the habit, that is the keyword. The habit of the market, that you have to change. So can you just give a few examples? See, I want to become a startup. So how I have to see that market is had good this habit, and now I want to change this habit. Just with an example, if you just narrate few examples, so that we can have more interesting this session.
Very, 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 very interesting. One of my favorite examples. What do you think Uber started as or started for? What do you think? What is the Uber's for loss of any word, purpose statement?
Right share.
Yeah.
Even the private drivers, private car owners used to take people on a ride, and it was like a ride share.
Yeah. What else could it be? Can I do this interactive?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Very good.
So there is this entire thing of every brand, every startup before it starts, it wants to reach somewhere. So which is usually the god of all startups is Steve Jobs, and he's given this mantra to us that create a dent in the universe, right? But I personally feel that every startup has a strong purpose. So I just want to understand from your prism, what is the purpose of, say, Uber? And I'm sorry I'm getting down, I find, interacting little easy.
Substitute for cars, substitute for privately owned cars.
Absolutely. The written down purpose in the Uber office previously at Palo Alto was one big line saying that, let's make car ownership redundant. So that is where I personally feel that, you spoke about habit change, and that is what we are here for. And like habit change, any habit change comes with three things. Number one, identify a queue, identify a period where you keep ringing the queue, and identify a solution. So they said that, okay, if I have an idea of aggregating taxis, who are my biggest enemy? My biggest enemy is people who are buying cars. So therefore, my job is not only to aggregate taxi, that is not a habit change. So my job is to tell people that Baba gaadi mat kharido. So that is habit change. So that is what Uber did. Similarly, when you talk about what did Airbnb. So it's basically to tell people that you don't travel that city, live in that city. So that's the habit change. So I think these are the two major examples which I really love. Two brands which are my favorite brands. In terms of driving consumer businesses with certain amount of purpose.
I think, when I look at habit change, I look at my own household and how things have changed since I was born to now. And one of the things I noticed is कि पहले when I used to be picky कि क्या खाना है वो 1 घंटा discussion होता था मम्मी के साथ कि अरे ये बना दो वो बना दो. Now when I'm acting picky, my mom will say अरे Zomato से मंगा लो. तो और you know when you want to eat something कि ये नहीं है अभी घर पे वो नहीं है, अब 10 minutes में आपके पास delivery आ जा रहा है वो चीज़ से. Or you know now you don't have to ask कि is the car available, can I take the car, you can book an Uber, go anywhere. You know, so many things have changed in our country, and I think the biggest benefiter of this startup ecosystem has been the consumer. So my life has become 10 times, 20 times easier than my father's life. And it's because of this difference that these startups have made in the life of a consumer, you know. And my father started an e-pharmacy brand called Sasta Sundar. So I think his, he has himself benefited in a lot of customers by giving them that extra discount. Business का चलो जितना भी वो loss हो रहा हो, customer का तो benefit हो रहा है. So I think, you know, with all these habit changes, the biggest beneficial owner has been the consumer.
Should we think that the discounts started with Sasta Sundar only? Because nowadays the 20% is very common.
30%.
30% is very common. It
But
started with Sasta Sundar or I don't know.
In East India, yes, I think with Sasta Sundar.
Okay, because what I remember that I was told that you buy from Sasta Sundar. Well, ये क्या है? So definitely there was some idea that it is Sasta.
Yes,
and Sundar, the name itself
Yes,
is saying that it's Sasta.
Yeah.
And now everyone is now giving 20%. I just wonder that how they were profiting on those days when there was no discounts. And if they used to give the 5% discount, they were obliging me. 5% discount दे दिया because you used to come almost daily or monthly or weekly.
Again, it's with, you know, when you aggregate, instead of one small shop, अगर वो aggregate हो रहा है, you're using technology, you can cut down on a lot of costs, you can cut down on a lot of middlemen that are in the supply chain, and ultimately who benefits? It's the customer.
That is the keyword. So my another question would be, what would be the big tips? 4 lines only. Tips for becoming the next unicorn. Unicorn, you have changed the definition. I am talking about the growth.
So if I say four tips, number 1, keep your business in green. Keep your business in green. Not not in red, because this whatever winter or autumn, whatever we are calling it, it is here to stay. Number 2, whenever you are doing great, be humble. Whenever you are doing bad, be humble. This is my second tip, which means austerity in office. That is very important. Austerity in the way you are functioning is very important. We are very, even in the best of times, we were very austere. Even in the worst of times, very austere. To be honest with you, this is last year, June, is when we shifted to a single office. Otherwise, we were working out of multiple small rooms. And, most of us were working out of Sagar's old house. So austerity is very important. Number 3, which I personally feel is the lifeline of a startup or of any business, is please understand that great marketing is not about spending a lot of money. Great marketing is about having a strong power of idea that travels. Power of idea, they say that light travels faster than sound. I feel power of idea travels faster than light. And we believe in something called the 14 principles of Jugaad marketing. Anybody wants to do anything in terms of marketing, please, I'll PDF my document to you. We don't spend money on marketing. Our marketing is the great food, and great food is great word of mouth. Great word of mouth is repeat of customers. This is number 3. And 4th, coming to the most important pillar of growth, is please focus on consumer. Be close to the consumer. No one constantly understand what is evolving in his life, what is changing in his life. Be part of that change. उसको बहुत लोग ट्रेंड बोलेंगे, फैड बोलेंगे, मोमेंट मार्केटिंग बोलेंगे, कुछ भी बोलेंगे, बट बी क्लोज टू द कंज्यूमर. कंज्यूमर गिव्स यू द बेस्ट एडवाइस, बिजनेस एडवाइस, और कोई आपको बेस्ट बिजनेस एडवाइस नहीं देता है.
But your ideas are totally different what we have heard. Like all the unicorns, they are all in red. You are saying be in green, number one. That's the one difference. Number two, they are all spending like anything, be it Dream 11, be it Crade, be it this, that, Baiju, so many. I mean, the World Cup and all. You are saying that it is austerity. The ideas are totally different. What exactly is commonly known? Just
It is different just because, I know for once I'm very clear that only profitable great business can actually live up to the real definition of startup. Negative businesses cannot live up to the definition of startup because great startups are here to pivot and change something. If you अगर आपको अगला महीना क्या होगा पता नहीं चलेगा तो आप क्या change करेंगे क्या pivot करेंगे? You are only setting out the fire in your house.
your turn.
Yeah, I think, to add on to what he said is ki, I think you have to decide ki, do you want to be one of those businesses where, you rise quickly, everyone knows you, and then the next year you're crashing as quickly as you rose up, like an FTX or something like that? Or do you want to build a business that lasts for the next 40, 50, 100, 200 years? I think that's the biggest question that you need to ask yourself and then decide if you want to be in the red or in the green. But apart from that, I think my biggest learnings, I wouldn't say tips, in my journey has been, the first one is that it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. It's not that everything will happen as quickly as you want it to be. So take baby steps every day. Don't scale up quickly before you know your business model is set. The unit economics makes sense. And treat every day like it's a gift to your business, and make sure you're achieving something that day. I think my second learning has been that when you're building something that you're passionate about and is going to make a difference in the consumer's life, you'll automatically start seeing traction in every aspect of your journey. And I mean, the traction will obviously come from the consumer, where you'll see that they are coming in, they want your product, word of mouth is spreading, but also in other aspects of your journey. More employees will come and want to work for your business. Your team will have a different sense to it. They'll be working towards a bigger mission. Investors will come. So when you're building towards a cause and the cause is making a difference in the user's life, traction will automatically come. And I think the third learning for me has been that when, again, you're building something bigger, your personal happiness sort of takes an insubordinate role towards it before that. And why I say that is because on a day-to-day level, I think if you ask any founder, they wouldn't say that they're happy every day. There's a lot of sleepless nights. There's a lot of self-doubt moments. There's a lot of moments where you're wondering why you even started doing this and why you're continuing on this journey. But you still, because you see that vision and because you see that vision coming to reality, you still continue on. And you sacrifice a lot of things, So I would say that don't get swayed by what you see in the media, what you see in the news, swanky offices, good swag, fancy, offices again, fancy the team meetings and things. That's not the reality. It's what the story the media has built up, and a lot of the ecosystem. I think in reality, it's what he said. It's austerity. You're building out of offices that are tiny. There's no fancy swag that's being distributed. It's not it's a very glamorous life. The founder is not spending lots of money going on a vacation to the Bahamas and things like that. Reality is very different. So I think, you should build a business which you want to last or outlive you. So keeping those principles in mind, I think the main baselines is that don't chase the valuation, chase the value, the valuation will come.
That's the key word, that don't chase the valuations, chase the value. Good.
One of my favorite lines from a very interesting ad of a brand called Under Armour. It is by Michael. The ad featured Michael Phelps, one of the leading Olympic swimmer. He said that what you do in the dark brings you to light. We think that bringing whatever is today, wherever the founder is all because of hunky-dory glory, but it's not because of hunky-dory glory. There is, and sleepless nights, dreams that are bigger than your, than you want to even achieve. Those are those moments of struggle, battle, and all what gives any kind of glory to anyone.
I'm giving you some pointers. Like first is the commonly seen across all the unicorns or startup. I'm sorry for the startups. Disruptive innovation. I think you have already said. Disruptive innovations. The first. We always see, अरे हमें कर लेता, अरे यार ये तो मेरे पास आइडिया थी, मैं तो करता ही, सोच ही रहा था, उसने कर लिया. The first, high on tech. Nothing is possible without high on tech. Next is the consumer focused. You said should be consumer focused. I think the 62% of the startups, the unicorns, are based on B2C. And the last, privately owned. I have seen that the companies, the moment they are going to the public, उनकी पिटाई हो जाती है. Sir, आपकी क्या idea? What is your idea on these 5 items?
So,
if you differ, you can always say.
So number one, disruptive idea, I said. The valuation is all about valuing the disruptiveness. And once you launch, then after that it's no more disruption. It's massified. So that is what it is. Number two, you mentioned about the first. Obviously, it is the David Lindbergh syndrome, which they say. Lindbergh syndrome is a guy who, आप पहली अगर आप आ गए market में, your market will always lap you up. So that is there. But even having said that, also I personally feel that arriving first is not always important, but arriving the best is very important. I will tell you an example of where we come from. So obviously we have this. We had launched our FMCG range of ready-to-eat momos last year. So by that time there was another brand which had taken the entire FMCG में, the momo market. Like big basket से order कर लो, modern बाजार में जाके order कर लो. So there was a large brand which had already taken over that. First month when we launch, big basket tells us that अरे आपके पहले महीने तो you will only do X amount of money. We woke up and I said that by X amount of money नहीं, तुम मेरे को 5X PO भेजो, वो हम देख लेगा. So they sent us 5X PO, which was exhausted in 20 days. Then they replenished the PO. And we finally ended up doing 7.5X of the competition. And they just stood. And they called me and, Sagar up and said that, ये हुआ क्या? मैं बोला, then we said that, it's not about coming to the market first. It is about coming to the market with the best product. And also, उसमें क्या होती है? You know the enemies which that other person has created. For example, Zomato did not start before Swiggy, but Zomato is a far more applicable brand today in the country. People applaud Zomato for their work. They went to public. So it is not about who came first. It's who came with the best solution, because you are all solving one problem. That is number 2. Third, you said consumer focused, which I think is a pillar of any business today, be it startup, not startup, anything. वो हिंदी में कहावत है, निंदक नियरे राखिए, मैं बोलता हूँ कंज्यूमर नियरे राखिए.
Very good. Very good concept.
Or then fourth point,
high on tech.
High on tech, again, we are like I say that we are click and mortar, not brick, not only click or not only brick and mortar. I think we need to be high on tech, but depends on what segment you are. And tech needs to balance your purpose, your vision. Tech doesn't come first. Your vision comes first. Then tech is you keep building. And tech is also ensure that you are constantly beta. You are never going to live a life where there is no tech problem. And we do a lot of, we do more than 8 lakh transactions on Swiggy and Zomato a month. We have lot of tech integrations at the back end. Still there are days, suddenly there are no riders around me. Suddenly my entire piper has crashed. There is no order coming in. Still there are days which are like that, and there will be such days. So there is nothing called perfect tech, and tech is always beta.
I think, what he said, you don't have to be the first to market. Everyone hears about first mover advantage and things like that. I think the time has come for late mover advantage, where you can see a business has come in and they've spent 7-8 years perfecting a business model, and you can come in the 8th year, you can see what they've learned over 7-8 years and replicate it at maybe 1/10 of the cost. So you just have to find that one USP that maybe differentiates you from them, and why the customer should choose you over them. That can be geography, that can be, the segment that you're targeting and things like that. But there's obvious late mover advantage as well. So just because someone has done it doesn't mean you can't replicate them or make it better. I think second thing, again with tech, we are a tech-based company, but tech is supposed to supplement your business. It's not your business. Like, unless you are going in with that SaaS sort of model where that is the main business, I think tech is a supplement, and you shouldn't automate anything unless you know for sure that it's running operationally well in a manual process. So like, do it manually 10 times, and when you're sure that, okay, this is how it's supposed to work, this is the flow of the system, then you go in and automate it with tech. Because if you don't test it out manually, you don't know what the problems in the system are going to come. And when you automate it and you spend crores of money in automating the tech process and things like that, you realize that, okay, maybe the flow that I built wasn't correct in the first place. So always spend a lot of time researching and doing the operations manually and then moving on to automating it.
Now we have got little time, but the role of chartered accountants. Chartered accountants are there everywhere, omnipresent, everything. Whether take accounts, take technology, take anything, business. I think the businesses which are run by the chartered accountants, they are very successful. So what do you see that the role of chartered accountant, they becoming the entrepreneur, opportunities for the chartered accountants who want to go into this startup, everything, because a lot of things, the new chartered accountants are so much tech savvy. They have got the out-of-box thinking. So what is your message role?
मेरा message तो ये है कि my co-founder is one of the best CAs I've ever come across, or the country will ever come across, and we are super blessed to have him. And apart from that, I personally feel that CAs have this amazing prism of lens of red green is very clear. Number one. Also, this entire conversation of more than, and I really wanted to put this, that more than unicorn, today startups visions IPO. Unicorn is old. I think every startup is now working towards listing at some point in time. So वो unicorn chase नहीं कर रहा अभी और. So road to IPO, where your compliances has to be perfected, your Big Four audit has to be in place, your every single right from your asset block or everything which is important for you to have it completely documented to the T, perfected, and the entire road show when you go for the for listing, when now we want to list ourselves in 2025 2024 end. So we are now doing a lot of these road shows where my due diligence is absolutely perfected. So this is one leg. Another leg which I feel that has helped us and will definitely help startups to have great set of really good CAs around is save money for the business. I think nobody can save money more than CAs in the country. And saving money is basically understanding which scheme of government is doing what. We apply on this scheme, apply on, because they are the set of people who are constantly looking, scanning what the government's movement are. So therefore they are, like I keep telling people, like my head of finance, very close to Miftar, works with Miftar, was with Miftar in PwC, now with us. I keep telling him that वो सीतारामन की आवाज़ है हमारे लिए.
मैं बताता हूँ आपको इसमें छोटी सी बात. वन ऑफ माई फ्रेंड्स, आई टोल्ड हिम दैट आजकल क्या कर रहे हो, तो बोला आप सब IPO कर रहे हैं. बोला IPO करने में तो कुछ मिलता उलता नहीं है, लेकिन देन आई केम टू नो दैट द फॉर coming out of the IPO, then you have to prepare the accounts 5 years on Ind base and this and that, and a huge fees. 30, 40, 50 lakhs is a very common fees for the chartered accountants. This is a message that for the IPOs and all, a lot of work, और उसका एक डेडिकेशन है, और उसमें आई थिंक दे कैन डेडिकेट ओनली टू दैट वर्क, नो अदर वर्क. बहुत काफ़ी काम है.
आई थिंक
मुझे तो लगता है कि मेरी जो फाइनेंस डिपार्टमेंट की जो रोबस्टनेस है, they have kept us so strong, and all the processes, in fact, I would be right from our SEM processes, and for a startup, it is very money to hold your money tight. Yeah. कोई ना एक बंदा होना चाहिए फाइनेंस में जो पैसे मतलब जिसके हाथ में छेद ना हो, मतलब वो बहुत ज़रूरी है. एंड तो आई टू नेवर एवर अंडरमाइंड रोल ऑफ आई थिंक रोल ऑफ CA इज एज बिग एज द C-suit in the system.
Saloni, can I expect that the chartered accountants who are migrating to Bangalore, now you people are coming with these kinds of startups, they will no more migrate to Bangalore, your idea?
Hopefully, I think also chartered accountant, you know, I'm not a chartered accountant, but my father is, and I've seen him build to really successful businesses and take it to IPO, take it further. And I've realized that more than, you know, the curriculum that you study, it's a mindset that CAs develop, that you have from, you know, your years of experience, from the study that you do, from all the businesses that you study because of all the accounts that you're looking at, is you have a very deep understanding of all the kinds of businesses that are there in the market today. You've seen maybe 10 different kinds of businesses just by looking at the books. You can see, okay, you know, this business makes sense. So you develop that gut feeling. When you hear an idea, I feel like my father can say, okay, you know, from his gut, will this idea work or not? Because he can probably project out the next 10-year financials in his mind and see if, you know, that's actually going to happen or not. And, you know, I think CAs have that unfair advantage that firstly, they have all that financial sense in them. You know, they know what every unit economics means. They know what every single accounting term means, which a lot of people who come from other domains don't have. So, you know, you might be a really good tech founder and, you know, have the tech background, but you don't know what the unit economics are going to look like for your idea. So you need that in your business. You need someone who's on your team who can tell you that. And more than that also, I think, the compliance, as you said, you know, the legality and having a good sense of understanding of, you know, what the regulatory compliances are. And especially because I'm in the financial space, I'm in insurtech space, it's a very big part of my business. I think a huge chunk of my time is actually devoted to ensuring that all our compliances are in place, all our regulatory things are in place. And so without the support of our CA, you know, and of, you know, all the compliance and account support, that wouldn't be possible. So I think CAs really are a pillar of support in the startup ecosystem. And I'm excited to see, you know, all the different things that this community is able to achieve in the next few years. I think they're really going to take this country forward.
One last question. I think the government, how they have helped the startups. The Startup India campaign was, I think, started in the year 2016 by Prime Minister Modi. And thereafter, the long way, already 107 unicorns. The capital you might have seen in the slides also. So what is the government is definitely devoted towards that. So can you just narrate a few, so that the people who are thinking of going for startups, they may get into that?
I mean, I think definitely there are a lot of relaxations that are coming. I think there's definitely a long way to go. A lot of things should be further relaxed, but I think a lot of things have already happened under this government. Is that with the Startup India scheme, you know, there's a lot of relaxation in terms of compliances that you have to file. There's also a lot of benefits you get. So like with trademark filing, there's discounted fees. There are a lot of like incubation programs that the Startup India platform is now bringing up and helping. And also in general, I think there's a lot of increasing awareness about this ecosystem and support. But yeah, I think it will benefit the ecosystem if there are further relaxations. And I think also there's a general push in towards ease of doing business. I think India is still a little low in the list, but I think it's going to come up soon. And even I can just talk about my personal experience in the insurance industry is that, you know, the IRDA, which is the Insurance Regulatory Development Authority, has taken a lot of steps to increase the penetration of insurance in India. They're doing a lot of exciting things. They're giving insurance companies, insurance intermediaries a lot of breathing space and support to achieve that vision. So I think it's an exciting time to be in the startup ecosystem, and you know, I think as a country we are going to achieve a lot as well.
Murali.
I think you know, more than government helping startups helping government. So I you know, when we found government you know, helping us, the day we find that we'll be very, very, very grateful. Having said that, one thing that has definitely happened in this new set of government is at least we have been heard. Not that we have been acted upon, but the window of hearing is there. But a long way to go, sir. Honestly, I might come off very blunt here. We are all fans of the current government. But however, for maybe our sector, food and beverage sector, we've not been, we don't even have inputs, GST inputs. Yeah, so for us, we've been wanting to have a singular window with the government for longest time. We've been wanting for this entire GST input bit for the longest time. We have not seen sunshine yet, but yeah, definitely during the COVID period, a lot of relaxation happened, but those were normal. Those were given for all. Yeah, one thing which is really helping us is the government is very the ease of business, which is ease of paperwork. That is happening in a very smooth, seamless manner, which was not there before. But there also we are looking at a singular window. For opening a restaurant today, I need 57 separate documents, licenses.
All online or?
It is having online and then pleading offline. तो आप ऑनलाइन में जाके भरिएगा, ऑफलाइन में जाके रोइएगा. सो वो रोपो है ना, रिसर्च ऑनलाइन, परचेज ऑफलाइन. तो यहाँ पे उल्टा है.
Now, I think the public have certain questions. I invite Sir Subodh Bhaiya.
In fact, the session is very good. Excellent. And Murali, you clarified what is startup is. The pivot. The word where the change is now in life. If you are able to change, you can sustain.
Absolutely.
And moreover, we understand today the life of the corporate also, which used to be 70 years, maybe a decade back, now it has come down to 17 years. So that also indicates that startup need to be perished also. And that is the reason, you have given a very good message to our audience that if you are coming out with the startup, you need to be ready for the change. You can tag it as a startup if you are ready to change. And that is for our profession also. If I am doing a audit practice, and there also if I am ready to change to go for the, in addition to compliance, the litigation practice or side by side then virtually scale up to investment banking, blah, blah, blah. That is there. Only take, and you have given a very right message, that take is only a need to, it is not a mandatory that it has to be tech based. It has to be based on your need. Every startup may not need tech. It sounds very good. IT savvy. What IT savvy means? A chartered accountant, I'm sure the kind of education chartered accountant has got, they are enough and they can hire and fire as and when required. Only one place I would like to add on or supplement what you said. Chartered accountants are not only for keeping eye on the fund. They are much more than that. Today, the chartered accountants, the new breed that has come up, they are fully equipped to be leader. What they need? Entrepreneurship. Like Saloni's father. He was in employment. Then that entrepreneurship brought him out from that employment and then come out with his own ideas. Some of ideas failed also. It's not that. And you also said rightly that you should not be scared. You can be successful if you fail only. And if you get up. Once you fail and then if you have the capability to get up. So the message is laudable. The only add-on you make it, from your mouth is we want to go to the entire message.
Sir, my co-founder is the CA. I can't even, there is no second question to it.
Not only limited to the finance, to lead as a CEO also.
Sir, my co-founder is a CA. The entire purchase, entire SCM, entire process reports to him. He is the lifeline of my business. And there is no two questions. Today's breed of CA, I think, I have so many of them in my family also. Everyone, I think they are one of the best, entrepreneurial leaders that the country can have. And there's no two doubts on that, sir.
Any more questions?
Question, definitely not, because it's much more clarified. Just a thought, agreeing with the past president of ICI. You know, as I rightly said by Murali, also by you and by Saloni, both of you, chartered accountant todays are called change makers. They are not just managing funds or being a compliance officer or just a number cruncher. They are actually playing a role of change makers. And they are actually, like I've seen across the world, they're actually playing a very pivotal role where they come forward and they actually turn around the business. They're actually working on digital transformation. It's very, you know, it's the time to brand CA and to make sure that they actually play a role on, you know, transforming the entire organization on a digital level. And yes, startup is something where digital plays a very important
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I feel like my father at the age of, I think in his 40s, he's come up and built a tech distribution of medicine. So it's not that, you know, it's just a tech or compliance or accounts. I think they have the vision to be able to build that entire business, to look at the entire ecosystem. So
and a
In
complete
fact,
360-degree view of the business.
I think, you know, in today's world, sir, there is this data which says that, you know, there is a CMO, CFO, CEO, anybody can be fired at any point in time. But the CIO can never be fired because he is the chief intelligence officer. And 88% of Indian chief intelligence officers are ex-CAs, are CAs who are practicing and therefore become CIOs. So this proves the fact that, you know, they are policy makers today, they are change makers today.
One question, I think was the last question, Vikas Goel.
Thank you, sir. So we've been hearing about unicorn being a passe, and of course it is because it's ultimately a mythical creature. I heard you mention that we are now talking about unicorns being cockroaches because that's a breed which has survived the nuclear wars. But okay, so here we have people. I mean, most of you, you've survived a lot of failures, right? What about the sustainability of businesses? Because when businesses pivot, when they take challenges, when they take risks, there are times that you fail. Now, what is your view of creating a business which is actually sustainable? Is it a good time for somebody to say, hey, I've tried this, but it hasn't worked, so maybe I need to go back to being into employment or start another business, or do I keep sticking around? So one of the things that we've recently started talking about is that we need to build banyans of companies, right, which is the national tree of India, right, which has a life of more than 200 years approximately. So how do you talk about sustainability and failures in businesses? I mean, when is it a good time to give up at times?
I think, you know, one thing that what I've learned from my personal experience is that if you are moving slowly, your failures can be at a very small level. So what that you know, manifests itself as is that you don't scale up your business before you know for sure that your business model will be a success. So, you know, try in one city, or one city is also too big. Try with like 10 customers, try with 20 customers, see if your unit economics are making sense. Then reach out to, you know, 50, 100. Make sure that, you know, your business model is a success before you go and spend a lot of money on marketing and try to scale that. So what that'll give you is that it'll give you a leeway so that in case you fail, you've not spent a lot of money or your own, you know, savings in that idea. And that also allows you to pivot and then try that out. Okay, you know, idea A didn't work, maybe idea B is it. So then you test out idea B, see if you have a product market fit, see if that's going to work. If B has not worked, again, you haven't lost a lot of money. Don't scale that. Go to C. Try that. If that doesn't work, then D. So you are not spending a lot of money before you know it's going to be a success. So, and you know, I think as someone who's been doing this, there's an inner gut feeling where you know this is not working out. So when you get that, I think it's the time to stop and make sure you're pivoting. As you said, you know, pivoting is very important. And to cut your losses and then make sure that you're moving on, because there's no point in staying in that. It's going to waste your time, it's going to waste your money. So I think moving slowly, even though there's a lot of talk around being fast-paced and things, you should be fast-paced once you know your idea is a success in itself.
Thank you so much. I know that the insurance sector, it is not even 1% of the world, this Europe or America or UK, or I think the Prudential is 100 times bigger than the companies all over the India. I mean, the India is now going towards 5 trillion. The GDP is the highest in the world. I don't know what will happen the next 10 years. I wish you all the best that maybe we will find you, this is a gathering of 150, maybe next time we should be in the thousands and maybe lakhs. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And good remarks for you, sir. You have not allowed any other, your competitors. So what is the secret of that? That's the last question, and then over to Sandeep? That is a big question.
I think maybe the biggest example I would give is that I think if you are respected by your competitor, which means you are doing something good. So I think we are constantly doing something good, something different, and keep constantly innovating. And to sum it up all, we are, I think, always on a beta mode. That's why I think.
Yeah, also, I think personally, I would like to congratulate you in the sense that I think Wow Momo, it's not that Wow Momo doesn't have a competitor. I think Wow Momo has emerged as a competition to Domino's or a Pizza Hut today, right? So I think that says a lot about their brand. And
Thank you, sir.
At last, we acknowledged the power of startup. Because पहले हम लोग से बोला जाता था नहीं पढ़ोगे तो चाय बेचना पड़ेगा, नहीं पढ़ोगे तो किराना दुकान खोलना पड़ेगा, मोदी खाना खोलना पड़ेगा, कपड़े दुकान में बैठना पड़ेगा. But nowadays, Nokia is selling tea, Ambani is selling grocery, and Tata is in cloth, Adani is selling oil. So it means what the startup कुछ नया नहीं है, बल्कि नए ढंग से करना ही startup है. That's the thing. And two things, one is from Murali ji, the satisfaction. Yes, when the customers say this is Momo but not Wow Momo, that satisfaction is more than the financial parameter. And that satisfaction comes through the finance only. And the second is team. Saloni said, the team, together everyone achieve more. तो बिना टीम के हम लोग कुछ नहीं कर सकते हैं. So that two things is required for in the customer prospects and our internal system with the team only. And request Sri Sandeep Sureka ji to give vote of thanks to both of our speaker. Please.
Thank you, Prakash. A very good afternoon to everyone. Our esteemed speaker for the day, dignitaries, distinguished guests, VIP CA member, ladies and gentlemen. It's my proud privilege to offer a hearty vote of thanks to our learned speaker. After hearing from both the speaker, who says Bangalore is the place for a startup, now it's time for Kolkata only. First of all, Murali Krishnan, sir, co-founder of Wow Momo. I must tell you that there was huge excitement amongst our participants for listening to you in Kolkata. It is indeed a matter of immense pride for us that Murali sir, an eminent personality and an erudite, has kindly consented to grace this occasion and has shared his words of wisdom with us. One mantra to success in a startup from the Murali ji we learned today is that you have to be Mr. Cool, MS Dhoni. Whatever the things comes to you, you have ready to be cool in the pitch, indifference of anything, any outcome. Sir, it is beyond any doubt that your expert deliberation on the startup, the suggestion and views has significantly enriched our participants, and they must have got a new perspective on how to start their own startup. Murali sir, it is believed that Tibetan bought Momo in some part of the country like Sikkim, Ladakh, Darjeeling, but your startup, Wow Momo, has made it present across India. And soon we will test your delicacies abroad. This is our MNC for the abroad. I am sure delegate must be feeling more hungry after hearing about this mouth-watering dishes. For few moments, please. I, on behalf of VIP Road Chartered Accountant, extend a hearty vote of thanks to you, sir. As a mark of respect and conveying our sense of gratitude, I hereby call CA Anil Mandawalaji, our past president, to please come forward and offer a memento to Murali sir. May I request to audience give a huge applause. Thank you, Anilji. Now it's turn for our second speaker, Ms. Saloni Mittal, co-founder and director of Giteja, a fintech startup. A very young lady below 25 years of age. She graced this occasion and share with us her experience in the insurance market. Madam, you shared your view how to achieve financial goal. I am sure this is the dream of each and every Indian who is sitting here. Everyone to want to achieve their financial goal. You must be approved, must be able to create torch bearer for them. Saloni, there is a takeaway from the Saloni that you need to be patient for the startup, and you have ready to play KBC. You have 4 options, A, B, C, D. Then you will success in a startup. Madam, we thank you very much from the bottom of heart for taking out time from your busy schedule and gracing this occasion. Now I request her mom to come forward to offer a memento to Miss Saloni Mittal as a mark of our gratitude. Thank you, proud mother. Once again, I thank you, both of you, our learned speaker, for being with us this morning. It's been a great pleasure for all of us. We certainly look forward to another interactive session with you in the near future. Thank you very much. Now it's time for lunch break, and we will assemble here for the second part of the session on a startup to capital market at 1:55, wherein eminent personalities from across the India will enlighten on how to start up and multiply the growth in capital market. Thank you.